what's up? My name's Lindsay Elizabeth and I am an entrepreneur, digital marketer, and today I'm coming to you as an indie self-published author. I initially started self-publishing back when I was in high school, so that was a long time ago, but I took a little bit of a break and then I started self-publishing again in 2023 with my kind of re-debut novel called Kingdom of Ash and Shadow. It originally looked like this, and now it looks like this, and it is quite a bit thicker, if you can tell the difference, and I wanted to talk about that today, as well as just some indie author writerly advice and goals. So when it comes to being an indie author, I do a lot of my videos and marketing and just kind of my social media presence in general is usually on TikTok, but I'm trying to branch away and get a little bit more into the YouTube space and doing some long form content so that way I can repurpose and put some of those smaller bite-sized clips onto TikTok and Reels and just kind of have a better overall workflow process. First things first, let's talk about goals as an author, because I don't think people realize that success means something completely different no matter who it is. So your version of success and my version of success might look completely different, and what's successful to you might not be successful to me, or vice versa. So for me, writing is really a hobby, and self-publishing was just a really fun way to be able to share my work with other people, as well as just hold it physically in my hands. I think that's something really magical and exciting. So I didn't have a ton of expectations going into self-publishing again when I started in 2023. I didn't really give myself a benchmark for success. I kind of gave myself an idea of like, if I sell 100 copies of my book, I think that's like absolutely amazing. And last year in 2023, I sold kind of a conglomerate number between like orders and pages read on Kindle Unlimited. I sold almost 1,800. Actually, I sold over 1,800. So that was more than I was expecting, and I see that as an insane success for me just starting out, getting into it, and pretty much only marketing on TikTok. But I know so many people have other goals and benchmarks for success. Like some people really want to see fan art of their characters, or people cosplaying their characters, or they want their book turned into a movie, which is difficult but possible. And as I was writing that book, Kingdom of Ash and Shadow, I knew it was going to be part of an interconnected trilogy, and so the reason I ended up doing a second edition, which is kind of the main thing I wanted to talk about today, is because that first edition, Kingdom of Ash and Shadow, no longer really fit into the vision for the entire trilogy. Personally, I was really excited about getting back into self-publishing and just writing in general. I was just like fueled with this creativity that I got so excited, and I wrote Kingdom of Ash and Shadow in 6 months and published it like the month after I decided I was done with it. Long story short, this second edition, Kingdom of Ash and Shadow, is what I wished the first edition was, if I just gave myself the time and patience that I should have. The main things that I kind of fleshed out in this second edition is I gave the villains a lot more depth and motivations, whereas the first edition they fell pretty flat, and it didn't add enough tension or conflict or even reasoning behind why they were evil. They were just evil for the sake of being an antagonist, and that's not what you want your villains to be. So I fleshed out more scenes with our protagonist and antagonists, and hopefully those relationships come across a lot more natural and engaging and fleshed out, just in general. I also realized that our main characters, Kel and Rosalie, they needed a lot more attention as well. For Rosalie, I knew that I wanted her to start using her elemental magic as she got comfortable, as a way to kind of show you guys that she is warming up to this new situation that she's in. And I knew there were so many chapters that I could add where I could show scenes like that, or just show her getting to know the people that she's with, because she was forcibly married to stop a war between her kingdom and the enemy kingdom as well. If you didn't know, Kingdom of Ash and Shadow is about a morally gray, firebending king forcibly demanding the enemy princess's hand in marriage. And this enemy princess is very sheltered, very naive. She was basically raised to just be a show thing, not really speak her mind, and just be there in order to help the family in case she needs to be married off. Kel is a morally gray firebending king, but his morally grayness comes from more of a reputation because he has a lot of secrets he's trying to keep in his kingdom. So when they are forcibly married, a lot of secrets come out, and Rosalie actually finds out she has some of her own that she didn't even realize. It's been compared to Game of Thrones, it's been compared to Avatar: The Last Airbender. I based it off Hades and Persephone, so honestly, do with that what you will, but that is the plot of Kingdom of Ash and Shadow. When I went into writing the second edition, I knew I didn't want to completely unpublish the first edition. I wanted to give people time, if they were reading it, just to get to know it, and if they wanted a chance at getting the first edition, I had kind of a clear timeline of how long it would be up for. So I didn't publish the first edition, but when I wrote the second edition and republished that, I basically wrote over the files, and that came with a whole new set of challenges. Essentially, I had to contact Amazon KDP customer service to push out the new version of the ebook, at least, to anyone who had it on Kindle Unlimited or who had bought the previous version. I basically had to message them and say, hey, I made major changes to my book. I need those changes to be available to everybody. And then they said, okay. And they pushed out an email through Amazon, so that wasn't like terrible. But the second I saw it in the Kindle store and it was like the same old interior format, I was like, my heart dropped a little bit and I was like, no, I'm doing this all wrong. But it worked out, so if you're rewriting and you're republishing with changes that aren't just like tiny spelling error or grammatical things, just know that you might have to contact Kindle Direct Publishing customer service, and they are pretty good and pretty fast about their chat boxes. So hopefully it's the same for you, but I had a good experience. So now that the second edition is released and I've kind of seen how my book can grow using social media and how I've been promoting it, I kind of had to set some goals for myself. Weird. So in 2024, I am finishing writing and publishing, hopefully, the rest of the trilogy, which is just one more book. I have Kingdom of Ash and Shadow. I have another book called Kingdom of Shadow and Ice, which looks like this. And then the third book is called Kingdom of Ice and Nightmares. So all of the titles bleed into each other, and yes, I know it's a blank of blank and blank, and everyone's upset and in a tizzy, and they hate it because of Sarah J. Maas. I blame Sarah. But also Game of Thrones is called A Song of Ice and Fire, so I don't know. If someone doesn't pick up my book just based on the format of the title, then that is on them, and I'm okay with that. They probably shouldn't read my books if they're going to be that judgy based on the title. My 2024 goals, now that I've seen all of this progress and kind of what I want, and that I'm going to be publishing at least this third book in the trilogy and then possibly a Hades and Persephone retelling standalone, that will bring me up from having 2 books out to 4 books out, so I'm hoping that sales correlate and I can like double my sales numbers. That's my main goal for 2024. Whether that's through orders or page reads on Kindle Unlimited, because I am a fantasy romance author and that does pretty well on Kindle Unlimited. If you're at all interested in like a pros and cons list that I've seen from my perspective of having a book enrolled in Kindle Unlimited, because I have seen some discourse on whether or not you should, I recommend it, but I do have a lot more insights. But if you ever want to see a video like that, feel free to let me know in the comments and I will definitely make one. I think that's kind of all I wanted to say about that. I don't know, I'm all over the place. Goals and second editions. Oof. That's gonna be my intro. If you want to know more about the process of me writing a second edition, I didn't document any of it, but I would love to speak on it. If you want to share your writerly goals in the comments, amazing, I would love to hear them, please do. And if you're a reader who likes spicy, wink wink, dark fantasy romance novels, feel free to give my books a look-see. They are on Amazon and in KU, and I will also link them down in the description. But yeah, maybe I could talk about some takeaways. Main takeaways from doing a second edition are only put out a product you're 100% happy with and that you think you will be happy with, but also go in with the expectation that there's always things you can change and that your book is never perfect, it's just done. So when you think you've done the characters justice and the story justice, put your pen down, stop typing on your keyboard, maybe even give it a couple weeks before you even go back and reread it and revise anything, and look at it with some fresh eyes, because that's something I definitely wish I did. I know that I wouldn't have been able to write the second book without getting that first book out quickly. And I did gain like a following, and obviously I had sales. So I'm not embarrassed by that book at all. I think I owe it like a huge debt of gratitude, that first edition. And I think something else to speak on with that on mind is analysis paralysis and thinking that if it's not perfect, it shouldn't be out there. But taking messy action and having it blow up in your face, you learn so much more than never doing anything in the first place at all. So even if it's not perfect, put it out there, learn from it. And the beauty of self-publishing and indie publishing is that if you want to make changes, you usually can. I wouldn't want anyone to think I did this as like a cash grab and was like, by the way, there's just this other edition with like 2 more chapters. No, this is almost an entirely new book. I went from 85,000 words to about 125,000 words. I added like a third of this now total book. So I'm not doing this for like money or trying to resell it to my audience that already bought it. And I really want it to live up to everybody's expectations. So I hope it does, and I hope you love it. Takeaways from goals would be that if you don't have a goal, then you're doing it for yourself. And if you're doing it for yourself and you publish it, you have to be okay with other people criticizing your art. I think it's really hard when you're a self-published author and an indie author and you're doing pretty much everything yourself, whether you're hiring it out, contracting it out, or you're actively doing the editing and the cover design and the developmental edits and everything. It is so easy to feel like I poured my heart and soul into this, and if somebody hates it, they hate me. It is so easy to internalize that, and my advice to you is don't. People like different things, people have their own opinions, and if somebody doesn't like your art, even if they say horrible, nasty things about it, art is subjective. That comment is not for you. It is not about you. It's not about your work ethic or your creativity or anything like that. It is simply what they thought of the work and they shattered it into the void. I think that's my biggest takeaway from setting goals, is also to set expectations. I don't know. I think that's it. I think this was just me rambling about books. And I hope you enjoyed it. And if you want to know anything else about the writing process, editing, formatting, graphic design, digital marketing, how to sell your book on TikTok, feel free to let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more of me. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye!